On this channel, we have laughed at the China national team many times. But one thing I've always wanted to talk about, but never got around to doing, was the league. And the CSL decided to give me that opportunity because they just had a match day where the football was so comically awful. I just had to cover it. Match day 15. Out of the 8 games that were played, 4 of them had hilarious mistakes. I'll just quickly go over the ones that didn't. Shanghai Port tried to salvage their underwhelming season with a 3-0 win over Dalian Yingbo. Zhejiang FC win against Qingdao Hainiu with the same scoreline, Starboy Wang Yudong scoring once again. And then we have Chengdu Rongcheng battering Shenzhen Peng City. Wei Zhihao missed 2 quickfire chances before assisting a goal, but aside from that, nothing really notable. And current league leaders Beijing Guoan continue their title charge, demolishing Meizhou Hakka. And now we get to the funny games. Let's start with Shandong Taishan versus Wuhan Three Towns. And Shandong get off to an emphatic start with Kazashvili hitting the post. Shandong try to follow up but drag it wide. They would get their goal soon enough with Zeka finishing a Xie Weneng cross. Wuhan push forward looking for an equalizer, but this time it's their turn to hit the post. But on the stroke of halftime, Wuhan goalkeeper Wei Minzhe takes out Xie Weneng in no man's land and gets his marching orders. Smelling blood, Shandong look to double their lead as Xie Weneng sends another cross to Zeka to tap in. Oh. No worries though, because he redeems himself by scoring in the same play. And it's 2-0 to Shandong. Then, with 79 minutes gone, Krisan lashes a long shot, but again the woodwork saves Wuhan. 87 minutes gone, Krisan tries again, and are you guys doing this on purpose? Wuhan refused to give up, and in the second minute of stoppage time, Liao Chengjian pulls one back. But Shandong, looking to seal the win, pushed forward as Kazashvili puts the nail in the cuff. Oh, you've got to be kidding me! Oh wait, they scored. Final score 3-1 as Shandong Taishan finished their 90-minute crossbar challenge. Next, we have Shanghai Shenhua against my hometown team, Tianjin Jinmen Tigers. A win for Shanghai Shenhua would keep them tied for first with their bitter rivals Beijing Guoan, while Tianjin Jinmen wanted to get back in form after getting knocked out of the Chinese FA Cup by a second-tier side. As if the national team wasn't bad enough, I also have to suffer through Tianjin Jinmen's constant disappointments. 25 minutes gone, a corner goes to the sky in Tianjin's box, no one really does anything about it. Defender Jiang Shengmeng goes for glory and just barely misses. Shenhua pile on the pressure and finally take the lead after 42 minutes. On the stroke of halftime, Gao Tianyi sends a free kick into the box for Jiang Shenglong and... is this Chinese Onana? Then, in stoppage time, Shenhua finished the job. 3-0 to Shanghai Shenhua as Tianjin Jinmen continue to disgrace me. Next up is Changchun Yatai, a relegation candidate, against Qingdao Youth Island. No, not that island. In the 18th minute, Changchun send a free kick into the box, the goalkeeper misjudges it, and Changchun scrap it over the line. However, it's ruled out for offside. Then Changchun with a bad giveaway, Youth Island striker Yakubu sprints down the left, crosses it for lose, but he's possessed by Lakaka. Changchun back of the offensive, 8,000-year-old Tan Long catches the keeper in no man's land, but he hesitates and... what are you guys doing? But here come Changchun again, the Youth Island keeper once again trying to sabotage his team, but again Changchun wastes the chance. No surprises here, this team is tied for bottom for goals scored. On several occasions, Changchun come too close to conceding for comfort, but in the 77th minute, they finally remember how to finish. For the rest of the game, veteran keeper Wu Yake carried Changchun as he made 5 saves to secure a crucial win. And now, I have saved the best for last. Yunnan Yukun versus Henan FC. Henan get off to a flying start as they get several good chances, but Yunnan look to hit back and... What is it with orange teams and hitting the woodwork? The deadlock is broken in the 29th minute as Henan take the lead. As long as they can hold on to this lead, they'll be fine. Alright, how much do you want to bet there was match fixing here? Henan's clownery doesn't end there as Yunnan get a penalty and Pedro Henrique seals the win. That's right, 4 out of 8 teams in one single match day with Sunday League level football. This is our top-flight league. The Chinese Super League was put on hold for the EAFF E1 Championship. A lot of good that did, huh? But now that it's back in full swing, I can finally stop agonizing about Chinese football and go back to laughing at it. Match day 17. We start off with Zhejiang FC against Yunnan Yukun, and the visitors take an early lead through Oscar Maritu. But in the second half, Zhejiang respond brilliantly with Alexandru Mitrita equalizing and Iago Cariello taking the lead. Finally, Zhejiang sealed the win through a brilliant free kick. 3-1 to the team everyone is cheering for because of Wang Yudong. Next, we have Changchun Yatai against Shanghai Port. Changchun hoped to pull away from the bottom of the table, while Shanghai Port hoped to stay in the title race, which has been heating up in the past few weeks. And the visitors showed no mercy as they started peppering the goal. But near the end of the first half, with 12 minutes of added time, Wang Shenchao delivers a cross from the right and... Alright, Changchun, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. You suck. This season, you just suck. Storming down the other end, Changchun almost equalized, but it's called off for a handball. Shanghai Port would double their lead in the second half through Gabriel Zinho. Changchun pulled one back later thanks to a penalty, but in the dying minutes, wonder kid Kuai Jiwen sets up Xu Xin, who kills off the game. 3-1 to Shanghai Port as they recover from their rocky start to the season. Meanwhile, Changchun Yatai are really in the gutter. Wuhan Three Towns against Qingdao West Coast, China's battle of mid. Right off the bat, Gustavo Sauer forces a defensive slip, passes the ball out wide, Deng Hanwen crosses into the box, and it's 1-0 to Wuhan. After the opener, this turned into a back-and-forth game with both sides coming painfully close to scoring, but in the second half, it would be Duan Liuyu to pull level for Qingdao. But following the equalizer, it was like both sides lost their shooting boots. The rest of the game was filled with the kind of awful finishing you'd find in Sunday League football. Oh, and there was this offside goal as well. The spoils are shared as the battle of mid ends with no winner. Then, we have my hometown team, Tianjin Jinmen, against the title contenders Chengdu Rongcheng. Chengdu immediately start on the front foot, pinning Tianjin back and scoring the opener in the 5th minute. But hold on, it's offside. No matter, said Chengdu as they continued their relentless attack. Unfortunately for them, finishing seemed to have left the team. But if they keep playing like this, it's only a matter of time before... We're in the lead? On a separate note, I regret ever advocating for Liu Dianzuo to start in goal for China. I take it all back. This guy is on fraud watch. Chengdu looked for a way back and might have equalized if not for their terrible finishing, but Tianjin catch another break as a penalty is awarded. Ademi steps up and it's 2-0 to Tianjin. What is going on? Late into the game, Chengdu get a penalty. The man in form Wei Shihao steps up and pulls one back for the visitors. But in stoppage time, in his desperation to equalize, Wei Shihao crashes into 2 Tianjin players and gets a second yellow card for doing this. Some things never change. Tianjin pull off a 2-1 upset and badly damage Chengdu's title hopes. Although, deviating from the humor for just a while, I do want to address why Wei Shihao lost control the way he did. Throughout the game, the Tianjin fans were apparently hurling disgusting insults at his family. Thankfully, the club took action and banned the ringleader from live games. But once again, I hate how classless this fanbase can be sometimes. Alright, back to the funny stuff. Dalian Yingbo against Shandong Taishan. Surprisingly, it would be the home side who started on the front foot, as many questions were raised about Wang Dalei's diving speed. This was rewarded as Dalian took the lead through Liu Zhurun. Both sides pressed hard to find the back of the net, one trying to equalize and the other trying to double their lead. But in the 82nd minute, it would be Dalian to grab the second goal of the game. This would stay the scoreline as Dalian upset Shandong Taishan. Shenzhen Peng City against Qingdao Hainiu. 2 relegation candidates going head-to-head. Qingdao Hainiu hoped to pull away from 15th place, while Shenzhen Peng City hoped to stay away from relegation. In just 3 minutes, Shenzhen showed the world why Qingdao is in danger as their keeper is possessed by Onana. Not long after, Shenzhen decide to compete for worst goalkeeper of the game, but theirs is bailed out. 44th minute, Qingdao's goalkeeper with another moment to forget as he's caught in no man's land and Shenzhen score an open goal. In the second half off a corner, Qingdao's goalkeeper is once again beaten at his near post. I think Qingdao are determined to lose because their keeper makes the exact same mistake, but luckily for him, this time his defenders are there to save him. And in the last few minutes, the worst keeper in China can't parry a shot properly and Shenzhen killed the game. 4-0 demolition, and we have found Onana's long-lost Chinese brother. Next, we have the top of the table clash. Beijing Guoan versus Shanghai Shenhua, one of the fiercest rivalries in China. Both sides are neck and neck, victory for either team could spell disaster for the other. And it took less than 7 minutes for Shanghai Shenhua to take the lead. In the 21st minute, Captain Wu Xi doubled the visitors' lead. But hold the phone, as just minutes later, Gonçalo Rodriguez halves the deficit. From there, the title race stood on a knife's edge, both sides going at each other's necks and trying desperately to grab another goal. Beijing dominated possession, but Shanghai looked far more dangerous with one of their late goals being called offside. But at last, in the final minute of stoppage time, substitute Yu Hanchao seals the win win for Shanghai Shenhua, 3-1 to the visitors, a huge result for the Chinese title race. And finally, Henan FC versus Meizhou Haka, yet another clash between relegation candidates. It would be Henan to start proactively pressing Meizhou into oblivion. They'd squander that good start as right back Huang Ruifeng gives us a bit of kung fu football and gets his marching orders. Smelling blood, Meizhou go on the offensive, but it would be 10-man Henan to take the lead through Frank Achiampong. Not so fast because in added time, Kobe Morris latches onto a rebound and scores a last-gasp equalizer. All square between Henan and Meizhou, and that caps off our Matchday 17 review. In this one single week, we had a hilarious own goal, kung fu football, and quite possibly the worst goalkeeping performance I have ever seen. Every day I have to remind myself that this is a professional league. I literally just made a CSL video. But this league is so hilariously bad on such a consistent basis. It won't let me stop. I gotta make the Canada video soon. I've been putting that off for way too long. But this league is so unserious, they just won't let me. Match day 19, although not quite as funny as the previous match days I covered, this one still had its moments. We start off with what was easily the craziest game this week, Yunnan Yukun versus Shanghai Shenhua. Shenhua in particular hoped to win against Yunnan Yukun and keep their lead in the title race. That wasn't looking likely as just 14 minutes in, Yunnan Yukun sent a deflected cross and Shanghai Shenhua just conceded to a Shinchan character. The defense didn't get any better as a long throw-in is headed up and into the field by Luo Jung. We aren't done because Shenhua's goal kick is intercepted in midfield and it's laid on a platter for Oscar Maritu. Shockingly, the league leaders are 3-0 down after just 33 minutes. Determined not to slip any further, Shenhua start desperately attacking and they finally find a way through Gao Tianyi's free kick. That's one back. In the second half, an outswinging corner finds the head of Jiang Shenglong and it's 3-2. Not so fast, says Yunnan Yukun as they score a corner and it's 4-2 with 25 minutes to go. Shenhua refused to give up. Captain Wu Xi lifts a pass and it's laid out for Yu Hanchao and it's 4-3. Shenhua just need one more. Not even 2 minutes later, a foul in the box leads to a penalty to Shenhua. Andre Luis steps up and slots it home. 4-4. Shanghai Shenhua come back from 3-0 down and show Real Madrid what a remontada looks like. Neutrals definitely got their money's worth because both teams combined for almost 50 shots in total. Next is Qingdao West Coast against Henan FC, and it took only 7 minutes for Qingdao to score the opener. And in the 19th minute, a Shaolin football impression sees Henan FC down to 10 men. But despite their disadvantage, a lifted pass sends Achiampong through Qingdao's statue backline and he chips an equalizer. Then, in the 32nd minute, it was Henan's turn to have their defense fall asleep as no one tries to stop a cross and Qingdao are back in the lead. From here, both teams forgot how to defend, but both teams also forgot how to finish. Qingdao go down to 10 men themselves, but they still manage to hold on. Finally, two teams who are good. At least on paper. Chengdu Rongcheng versus Shandong Taishan. Chengdu looked to continue their title challenge as Felipe takes the lead early on. But Shandong respond in no time as Liu Yang storms down the left, cuts back, and Kazashvili pulls level. Chengdu keep trying to restore their lead, and eventually an error by Shandong goalkeeper Wang Dalei is initially given as a yellow, but a VAR check upgrades it to a red card. And not long after, Felipe takes the lead again for Chengdu. The scoreline flatters Shandong Taishan because had it not been for goalkeepers Wang Dalei and Yu Jinyong, this would have been much worse. Meizhou Haka versus Shanghai Port. In the 9th minute, Kung Fu Football gives a penalty to Shanghai Port and it's slammed home by Gabriel Zinho. And not long after, Shanghai doubled their lead. Meizhou's porous defense keeps letting them down as an own goal extends Shanghai's lead to 3. And before the end of the half, it's 4-0. The relentless attack continues, but I guess Shanghai must have left their finishing skills in the dressing room because they started missing gilt-edged chances. And Meizhou, determined to get something out of this game, pulled 2 goals back, but it isn't enough to prevent them losing the game. Dalian Yingbo versus Qingdao Hainiu. Dalian start uber aggressively, forcing Qingdao on the defensive and coming close to scoring multiple times. Their breakthrough came in the 31st minute as a cross from the right finds Zakaria Labiad and it's 1-0 to Dalian. On the stroke of halftime, a failed clearance by Dalian nearly cost them a goal, but Qingdao hit the post. In the second half, Liu Zhuren is sent through on goal, but his shot is well wide. 56th minute, Dalian take a tactical corner and the worst goalkeeper in China makes a brilliant save. Looking for an equalizer, Qingdao send a cross to the far post, but the finish is terrible. Then, in stoppage time, a crunching Kung Fu move reduces Qingdao Hainiu to 10 men. Yes, Kung Fu again. The silliness doesn't end because in the last minute of added time, a penalty is awarded to Dalian and they score all 3 points. Beijing Guoan versus Tianjin Jinmen, one of the most bitter derbies in China. Beijing Guoan goalkeeper Hosen had an early moment of madness and Alberto Quiles takes the lead for Tianjin. But right before halftime, Beijing score off a corner and level the score. But Beijing's Finnish defense doesn't react to a rebound and Quiles retakes the lead for Tianjin. Tianjin's backline isn't much better as Fabio scores off a corner for another equalizer. No winner in the Jingjin derby, but Beijing Guoan are more disappointed as they stumble again in their title charge. Wuhan Three Towns versus Changchun Yatai, and I'm telling you, this game had some of the worst football imaginable. The goalkeepers were bad, but somehow the finishing was worse for both teams. The refereeing too, because this wasn't called as a penalty. Oh, and luckily for the goalkeeper, this was offside. A stoppable force fails to score against a movable object. I am genuinely astonished. Just 2 years ago, Wuhan Three Towns were competing in the Asian Champions League. They didn't do well, Wei Shihao channeled his inner Shaolin player, sure, but they still made it. Now they can't even beat Chinese Southampton at home. And our last game of the match day, Shenzhen Peng City versus Zhejiang FC. 12 minutes gone, Wang Yudong with an early chance but drags his shot wide. Shenzhen get a great chance in the 35th minute, but twice Zhejiang's defense is there to foil them. Finally, in the 39th minute, Franco Andriasevich finds himself through on goal and scores the opener. But in the second half, Shenzhen pulled themselves together and equalize. And then on a corner, Zhejiang's keeper completely misses the ball and Yang Yiming turns it around for Shenzhen. Side note, while researching this team, I found out that Yang Yiming's official positions are center back and forward. This league is not serious. 77th minute, Wang Yudong with a cutback, but the shot is blocked. 83rd minute, Cariello lashes one at Shenzhen's net, but it crashes into the crossbar. 89th minute, Shenzhen just need to hold on a bit longer. Wang Yudong sends a cross into the box and... no way. 98th minute, a shot is deflected off a Shenzhen defender's back but finds Cariello on the far post and... all you had to do was hold on for a few more minutes. Then, in the 17th minute of added time, Zhejiang completes Shenzhen's bottle job. Shenzhen Peng City had this in the bag and they managed to throw it all away with 2 of their opponent's goals coming in stoppage time. So, in this CSL matchday, we saw bottling, terrible goalkeeping, and 4 red cards. Is this football or kung fu? Yeah, we're back. Again. Just as I finished the last CSL video, this league had another matchday that was, as expected, hilarious. Matchday 20 of the CSL, we start off with Dalian Yingbo versus Chengdu Rongcheng, and with just 13 minutes on the clock, Liu Zhuren found himself one-on-one with Liu Dianzuo. I guess that was offside anyway. Just a minute later, Dalian get another good chance but squander it again. Following this, it was all Chengdu as the title challengers put more pressure on the northern Chinese team. But in the 41st minute, it would once again be Liu Zhuren as he sends a cross to the far post and... surprisingly, the mid-table Dalian Yingbo were actually doing really well against a title candidate and might have taken the lead if their finishing was a bit better. That was soon to change as Wei Shihao took the lead for Chengdu. Oh, it's offside. 77th minute, Felipe is dispossessed in the box. The defender tries to prevent a corner, but his clearance fails miserably. Chengdu latch onto the loose ball, send in a cross, and Felipe finally breaks the deadlock. Dalian refused to give up. A late chance finds Dalian dribbling past Liu Dianzuo and... to be fair, that was offside anyways. The underdogs keep trying and come close as Zhu Pengyu forces Yuan Mincheng to take a second yellow card. Unfortunately, dreams of a comeback were shattered in the 98th minute as Gan Chao secured all 3 points for Chengdu Rongcheng. That's 3 wins in a row for Chengdu as they climb back to 3rd in the league, and a brave effort by Dalian, but not quite enough. Henan FC versus Shenzhen Peng City. And not even 2 minutes in, atrocious defending by Shenzhen sends Cardoso clean through on goal and it's 1-0. Never mind, it's ruled out for a foul. No matter, in the 12th minute, Cardoso heads at the net and the worst goalkeeper in China fumbles it in. Wait, that's ruled out too? No matter, said Henan as they took the lead in the 41st minute through Zhong Yihao. And in the second half, Shenzhen's mess of a backline can't stop Henan from doubling their lead. Then, in the 77th minute, a cross to the far post leads to a game of pinball, but it's tapped in for 3-0. 86th minute, Cardoso charges into the box and shoots. It's saved, but Yang Yilin scores on the rebound. Shenzhen Peng City did manage to score one of the messiest consolation goals in history, but it provides little comfort as the City Football Group's Chinese team gets demolished 4-1. Shandong Taishan versus Changchun Yatai. In the 9th minute, it would surprisingly be the relegation candidate finding a good chance as a cross comes in from the right and... Changchun, I knew your attack was bad, but wow. The breakthrough came in the 39th minute as Gao Junyi's cross finds the head of Kazashvili and it's 1-0 to Shandong. And in the 53rd minute, another cross from the right finds Chen Pu who doubles the lead. But in the 69th minute, Changchun Yatai managed to pull a goal back. And Changchun Yatai refused to give up, pushing for another equalizer. In desperation, Gao Junyi shows us some of that good old Shaolin football and gets himself sent off. And you know, considering all the corruption in the Chinese Super League, this comparison is 100% appropriate. A brave effort by Changchun Yatai, but unfortunately for them, Shandong Taishan managed to hold on and secure the win. Qingdao Hainiu versus Yunnan Yukun, and it took no time at all for Qingdao Hainiu to score first. Not long after, Wellington Silva latches onto a clever through ball, evades the goalkeeper, and makes it 2-0. Looking to respond, Yunnan Yukun sent a long pass to Oscar Muritu who halves the deficit. Yet it didn't change the reality that Yunnan were being pressed into oblivion as Qingdao are sure to score. But not to worry, because my favorite type of football returns. Shaolin football. How I've missed you. Yunnan go down to 10 men and it was all over from there. After some beautiful team play, Che Shiwei makes it 3-1 to Qingdao. Only 2 minutes later, another ball over the top sees Didier Lamcalze evading Yunnan's terrible defense, and there's another goal. Then, in stoppage time, a defensive error and the goalkeeper not learning from previous match days sees Qingdao complete its demolition job. 5-1. A massive result for Qingdao Hainiu because let me tell you, they need it. And Yunnan Yukun, it was only one game ago when you held a 3-0 lead over the league leaders. What happened? The match that everyone was hyped for. The Shanghai Derby. Shanghai Shenhua versus Shanghai Port. The team on a 30-year league title drought versus the defending champions. Knowing this could be a title decider, both teams go at each other's throats. And both teams come close to scoring multiple times. But in the 27th minute, a defensive error and some quick passing sees Shanghai Port taking the lead. With the title on the line, Shenhua looked to respond and nearly equalize. From there, it was more of the back-and-forth football from the first few minutes of the game, but just as the second half begins, Shanghai Port doubled their lead through Leonardo. But a few minutes later, a scramble for the ball off a corner leads to Shinichi Chan pulling one back for Shenhua, and from there, Shanghai Shenhua threw everything they had for an equalizer. But no matter what they tried, Yan Junling would not concede another. You heard me right, it was Yan Junling of all people who saved Shanghai Port. Yan Junling's best performance of the season paints the city red as Shanghai Port emerged victorious in the derby. Tianjin Jinmen versus Qingdao West Coast. Right off the bat, Tianjin got a great chance and 21st minute, Tianjin storm forward and try a long shot, but it's easily saved. 35th minute, off a corner, Tianjin Jinmen finally take the lead. Wait, what? Disheartened by the disallowed goal, the momentum shifts a little as Qingdao get a golden chance but sky it. In the second half, they get another good chance but drag it wide. Tianjin back on the attack and a long-range effort from outside the box goes over. 73rd minute, Tianjin try again. It's beaten away by the keeper, but I got no words. 87th minute, Qingdao West Coast split the Tianjin backline and score, but it's offside. Deep into stoppage time, Tianjin with one last corner and 0-0 in the Battle of Mid. Yippee! I mean, imagine supporting Tianjin Jinmen. Imagine that. Imagine. Who would be insane enough to try that? Who would be insane enough to support that team? I can't imagine. Wuhan Three Towns versus Meizhou Hakka. And in the 16th minute, Wuhan Three Towns thought they took the lead, but it's ruled out for a handball. And I'm not gonna lie, this was hilarious. Just a few minutes later, a brilliant through ball was slotted into the net, and it's 1-0 to Meizhou Hakka. 51st minute, Gustavo Sauer equalizes for Wuhan with an amazing free kick. Meizhou refused to give up. In the 65th minute, a cross from the right is brought under control and slammed home. Meizhou Hakka have the lead again. From there, Meizhou managed to hold on and secure a crucial win in their relegation battle. And finally, our last game of the match day. Zhejiang FC versus Beijing Guoan. 10 minutes gone, Beijing Guoan looking for a good start and on the moon, that one. 15th minute, Zhejiang get a great chance, but it's clear. 21st minute, Lucas Pasignolo gets his head on a free kick and takes the lead for Zhejiang. And only a few minutes later, out of nowhere, Guga equalizes for Beijing. Building off their momentum, Beijing Guoan keep trying to take the lead, but sadly for the national security team, their finishing was non-existent. Instead, in added time, it would be Zhejiang to take the lead. Then just as the second half begins, Wang Yudong sprints into Beijing's box and finishes to make it 3-1. But hold the phone, because in the 54th minute, Cao Yongjing pulls one back for the national security team. And of course, it wouldn't be a CSL game without the classic. Shaolin football. That dumb challenge sees Captain Cheng Jin sent off and Zhejiang down to 10 men. Taking advantage of this, Fabio scores the equalizer with some help from the goalkeeper. And then in the 76th minute, a ball over the top befuddles Zhejiang's backline and Wang Ziming turns it around for Beijing Guoan. Recovering from their patch of bad form, Beijing Guoan complete a comeback to stay in the title race. Now, with 10 matches left, here's how the league is looking so far, because this title race is getting intense. For our relegation battle, Changchun Yatai are all but doomed, while Qingdao Hainiu remain 2 points behind Major Hakka since both won their games this week. Shenzhen Peng City, meanwhile, remain in danger just 3 points from relegation. Mid-table Mandems, there are only 12 points separating 5th place Shandong Taishan and 12th place Henan FC, and even more exciting, only 5 points separate 5th and 10th place. But here's the main highlights. Because Shanghai Port managed to hamper Shenhua's title charge, they are just 1 point behind their city rivals. In fact, 1st to 4th place are only separated by 3 points. Today, we review Matchday 21 of the CSL, so that we get to laugh at this league, as well as review any changes in the title race. First is Shanghai Port versus Henan FC, and it's Shanghai Port who hope to contribute to their title charge by collecting 3 points here. In the 21st minute, it would be the man as old as the Han Dynasty itself, Wang Shenchao, to take the lead for Shanghai. Then, in the 37th minute, Mateus Vital doubles the lead. 40th minute, Henan almost equalized, but it boinks off the woodwork. In added time, Leonardo carries the ball, rams the keeper, and slots it into an empty net. 3-0 to Shanghai Port before halftime. It only gets worse for Henan FC as in the 55th minute, Melendo makes it 4-0 to Shanghai Port. Henan later managed to win a penalty, which is converted by Felipe Cardoso, but it still ends as a crushing loss for the Central Chinese visitors. Yunnan Yukun versus Wuhan Three Towns. Right off the bat, both sides test their luck with long-range shots, but neither team finds the back of the net. That would change in the 35th minute as Luo Jing scores the opening goal for Yunnan. In the 51st minute, Yunnan tried their hardest to score an own goal, but failed miserably. However, on the second try, they would successfully equalize for their opponents. Trying to take the lead again, Yunnan would get a great chance off a rebound. It is not over yet. Both teams keep trying to get ahead, but in the 75th minute, it would be Han Zilong who retakes the lead for Yunnan. The drama isn't over because in stoppage time, Yunnan get a golden chance to secure their win, and they completely blow it. All the same, they still take 3 points to recover from their disaster class in the last match day. Tianjin Jinmen Tigers versus Dalian Yingbo. The comedy begins right away as we saw a beautiful display of tap dancing in Tianjin's box. No one wants to score and no one wants to clear it. Dalian finally tried their luck outside the box and drag it horribly wide. 22nd minute, Tianjin on the attack. Wang Qiuming backheels it to Alberto Quiles and he sends a thunderous strike into the top corner. 1-0 to Tianjin. Dalian back on the offensive. In the 41st minute, Chinese Cavani tries a long shot but misses the target. In added time, Chinese Cavani tries it again, but this time sends it straight at the keeper. 51st minute, Tianjin almost scored. It's saved, but the Tigers latch onto the loose ball, send a deflected pass to captain Wang Qiuming, who doubles the lead for Tianjin. All Dalian could do was stop it from getting worse, and late into the game they almost conceded third, but it's hilariously blocked by Tianjin's goalscorer Quiles. A 2-0 win for Chinese Tottenham ends Dalian's hot streak. Qingdao West Coast versus Beijing Guoan. And early into the match, Beijing tried their hardest to concede the opener, but luckily for them, finishing wasn't in Qingdao's game plan. The national security team almost scored themselves in the 15th minute, but it's saved. In the 29th minute, Beijing goalkeeper Hosen punches a corner away only for Qingdao to volley. Finally, in the 39th minute, a cross from the right finds the head of Fabio, who takes the lead for the national security team. The open back-and-forth nature of this game continued, and the question of who would score next was anyone's guess. Both sides had terrific chances, but it was like watching 22 Lakakas. Then, in the 80th minute, it would be Kung Fu master Lin Yangming who doubles Beijing's lead. And in the 85th minute, another cross from the right finds Fabio again, who makes it 3-0 to Beijing. Not so fast because we have the return of a classic. Shaolin football. That crazy challenge awards a penalty to Qingdao in stoppage time and they get a consolation Panenka goal, but Beijing still walk away with 3 points. Changchun Yatai versus Meizhou Hakka. The Battle of the Basement Dwellers. Early on, Meizhou looked the more dangerous of the two sides as in the 18th minute, a ferocious long shot crashes into the crossbar. Here's a chance for Changchun, a failed clearance by Meizhou and 8,000-year-old Tan Long tries a chip, but he misses. Changchun get another chance in the 33rd minute. They send a byline cross and Salazar meets it with a fantastic header. 1-0 to Changchun. Meizhou push for an equalizer and get an extremely controversial penalty, but luckily for Changchun, veteran keeper Wu Yaku comes in with the heroics. He did later come off injured, unfortunately. 64th minute, the ancient dinosaur Tan Long chips the keeper again and scores this time, but it's offside. 86th minute, substitute keeper Wang Zhifeng with a bad giveaway. Meizhou equalized, but it's ruled offside. He later redeemed himself, making save after save, making sure that Meizhou couldn't score again, even with 19 added minutes? That early goal by Changjun Yatai proves crucial in their quest to survive, as their relegation battle looks less hopeless at least. Chengdu Rongcheng versus Qingdao Hainiu, a title challenger versus a relegation candidate. Should be a straightforward win for Chengdu, right? Nope. This game had overall terrible finishing. Instead, it would be Chengdu's young goalkeeper Jian Tao who stole the show with a series of eye-catching saves. Finally, a competent goalkeeper for the national team. He never gets called up. Chengdu Rongcheng stumble in their title charge and need to recuperate for their next showdown. Sheikh Mansour Peng City versus Shandong Taishan, and Kasashvili gets a great chance early on but misses it horribly. In the 12th minute, Xie Weneng found himself in a great position. His shot is pushed against the post, but Rafael Murky scores the second ball. In the 23rd minute, Xie Weneng drifts into the box and sends a cross to Kasashvili, who doesn't miss this time. Wait, hold on. Let me check the script. I can't help but feel like we're missing something. Oh, right! Of course, how could I forget? That's what we were missing. Shaolin football. Shenzhen are 2 goals behind and now down to 10 men. However, things would actually get better as Shenzhen managed to pull 1 back thanks to an awful mistake by Yu Jinyong. Ultimately, it means little as Shenzhen lost their shooting boots after their goal, and in the 97th minute, Wang Tong killed off the game. 3-1 to Shandong Taishan. And finally, Zhejiang FC face off against Chinese Arsenal. In the 2nd minute, Jiang Shonglong almost scores off a corner, but it's straight at the keeper. In the 8th minute, Zhejiang take pity on Shenhua and give them a chance, and yet they still can't score. In the 21st minute, it would be Zhejiang's turn to attack, but it's parried away by Xue Qinghao. 1 minute later, Shenhua's cross is punched up by Zhao Bo. Andre Luis tries a bicycle kick, but he hits the crossbar. From here, it became a contest of who could squander more chances. Shenhua in particular, knowing the title was on the line and needing a win to stay ahead of their city rivals, could only produce miss after miss after miss after miss. Chinese Arsenal fumble yet another game in their title charge, going 3 games winless. So, with this review complete, here's how the league looks on match day 21. Changchun's win could prove crucial in their bid to survive and could be costly for Meizhou, and now the bottom 4 are only 5 points apart. Shandong Taishan still leads the mid-table pack with Tianjin hot on their heels, while back-to-back losses for Dalian Yingbo sees them overtaken by Yunnan Yukun and Zhejiang FC. Meanwhile, Shanghai Shenhua's endless battling finally catches up to them as Shanghai Port overtake them in the title race. Chengdu's draw and Beijing's win sees them switching places, but the top 4 are still only separated by 3 points. Match day 22. Let's start with Yunnan Yukun versus Chengdu Rongcheng. And Chengdu took no time at all taking the lead as Wei Shihao's shot bounces off the crossbar and is bundled in by Tim Chow. Not long after, Yunnan respond with Zhang Hoseitor chipping goalkeeper Liu Dianzuo, but Yunnan's defense is dispossessed repeatedly in their own half, and Felipe retakes the lead for Chengdu. Luckily for Yunnan, it's ruled out for a foul. Chengdu keep peppering Yunnan's goal, and in the 54th minute, Wei Shihao lays it off for Felipe, who gets his goal this time. 63rd minute, Wei Shihao finds Felipe with acres of space in front of him and he gets another goal. Then, in the 78th minute, the young midfielder Liao Rongxiang sends a beautiful shot into the net. Finally, to cap off their beating, Wei Shihao gets a hat-trick of assists as another young midfielder Li Moyu finishes Yunnan's miserable night. 5-1 to Chengdu Rongcheng at Yunnan Yukun's home stadium. I gotta ask Yunnan, what happened to you? So far, out of the 5 matches you've played in August, you conceded at least 4 goals in 4 of them. Did you suddenly forget how to defend or something? 23 goals conceded in 5 games. Qingdao Hainiu versus Shanghai Shenhua. Qingdao gave Shenhua trouble right off the bat, but amazingly, Xue Qinghao saves this shot on the line. In the 43rd minute, Shenhua managed to score this beauty of a goal, but unfortunately, it's ruled offside. Trying to get their title charge back on track, Shanghai Shenhua try again and again to take the lead, but funnily enough, the worst goalkeeper in China chose this match to become a wall. Shenhua do manage to score again in the 59th minute, but it's once again ruled out for offside. But in stoppage time, it would be veteran Yu Hanchao who finally takes the lead for Shanghai Shenhua. Then in the 98th minute, Liu Chengyu is sent clean through on goal and he secures the win for the visitors. Leonid Slutsky's side refused to give up and end their 3-game winless run. From one team in Shanghai to another. Next up is Shanghai Port versus Tianjin Jinmen, and right off the bat, Shanghai Port win a penalty. Gabriel Zinho steps up and it's 1-0 to the hosts. But in the 43rd minute, Alberto Pila sends Wei Jin to the Shadowlands and equalizes for Tianjin. From there, it would surprisingly be Shanghai Port who held on for dear life as Tianjin get chance after chance, but they stop it from getting any worse. Luckily for them, in the 95th minute, youngster Kuai Jiwen gets a late chance to secure them the win, but he fumbles it. That proves costly as Shanghai Port drop points in their title defense. Meijo Haka versus Zhejiang FC. Quite possibly one of the funniest games I have seen in a long time. In the 4th minute, goalkeeper Zhao Bo fumbles collecting a cross, but Meijo squander the chance. They go again in the 38th minute as a ferocious free kick is saved by Zhao Bo, but on second glance, the ball came off Wang Yudong's elbow and a penalty is awarded. Liu Yun converts from the spot and it's 1-0 to Meijo. Making amends for his mistake, Wang Yudong cuts it back for Franco Andriasevich, who equalizes for Zhejiang. Then, just a few minutes later, Andriasevich takes the lead for the visitors. But Meijo respond in the second half with Rodrigo Henrique equalizing. 60th minute, Wang Yudong is through on goal, but he hits the post. 86th minute, a defensive error leaves Zhejiang with an open goal, but they somehow don't score. And Meijo would hold on to grab a point from Zhejiang FC. Changchun Yatai versus Sheikh Mansour Peng City. 26th minute, Bahram Abduweli gets the best chance of the game, but he's so clearly offside and he still hits the post anyway. 41st minute, Shenzhen try an Olympico, but it's saved, along with the second shot. But in the 50th minute, Changchun Yatai send a thunderous shot into the bottom corner and take the lead. In the 80th minute, 8,000-year-old Tan Long almost doubles the lead for Changchun, but he hits the crossbar. Changchun Yatai do not care as they get another 3 points, which could be crucial to surviving relegation. Henan FC versus Dalian Yingbo, and in the 6th minute, a clearance upfield gives Henan an easy chance to score as the goalkeeper is caught in no man's land. All he has to do is shoot. Any minute now. Oh, never mind, it's a penalty. And Felipe Cardoso takes the lead for Henan. Then, in the 31st minute, Cardoso heads it down for Lucas Maya, who doubles their lead. 10 minutes later, off a corner, Cardoso passes it to Lucas Maya, who scores again. And in added time, Frank Anchiampong is sent through on goal, and Dalian are now 4-0 down in the first half. In the second half, Felipe Cardoso is sent through again and takes way too long to score an open goal. But it's offside anyways. 89th minute, Ma Weijie gets the best chance for Dalian, but his shot is cleared off the line. It ends up being an atrocious night for Dalian as they are destroyed 4-0 by Henan. Shandong Taishan versus Qingdao West Coast. In the 7th minute, Krisan ends his scoring drought and also takes the lead for Shandong. 28th minute, Xie Weneng sprints down the right, sends a cross into the box, but he's foiled by Qingdao's keeper. Xie Weneng would try to get a goal for himself in the 43rd minute, but it's parried away by the keeper. But if it isn't the return of my oldest friend, Shaolin football. Where have you been? That challenge awards a free kick to Shandong and Krisan buries it. But in the 58th minute, Zheng Zheng's failed clearance gives Qingdao a chance and they pull one back. Shandong respond immediately and the next minute, Kazashvili restores their 2-goal lead. Shandong keep trying to get another goal to make sure of their win, but they're not doing the crossbar challenge again, are they? Qingdao won't back down and reduce the deficit again in the 78th minute. It's not quite enough though because Shandong walk away with 3 points all the same. And finally, our last game of the match day, Beijing Guoan versus Wuhan Three Towns. And Shaolin football is back in full force as Wuhan concede an early penalty which is converted by Fabio Abreu. In added time of the first half, 006 Serginho would convert a tap-in and make it 2-0 to Beijing. Then, in the second half, Kung Fu master Lin Yangming scores off a free kick. Only a few minutes later, Lin Yangming gets involved again and he sends a low cross to Chinese Darwin Nunez, who makes it 4-0 to the national security team. Beijing Guoan achieve an astounding victory and keep the pressure up on the league leaders. Pressure on the league leaders, yeah. Let's just... Okay, listen, I know I already made a video on it. Let's just pretend that didn't happen, okay? We're still early in the story. As of match day 22, here's how the league is looking. The relegation battle is getting exciting as every team is within 2 points of each other, and the bottom two, Changchun and Qingdao Hainou, are tied on points. As for mid-table, there are 16 points between 5th and 12th place, and Shandong Taishan is still leading the pack. But the most exciting part is the title race, which has gotten even tighter with just 2 points separating 1st and 4th place. Shanghai Shenhua are back in 1st, and Beijing Guoan also overtake Shanghai Port. So with 8 games left, it's still anyone's guess who will win. The last match day saw Shanghai Shenhua retake the top spot in the league, so can they hold on to it? Oh, and before we start, if you're interested in Chinese football, there's a Chinese football Discord you can join. I've left the link in the description below, so if you're interested, check it out. Now let's get onto it. Match day 23 kicked off with Qingdao Hainiu versus Henan FC, and despite being threatened with relegation, Qingdao were going toe-to-toe with their opposition. Although if they wanted a positive result, they'd have to have better finishing than that. On the stroke of halftime, Qingdao Hainiu took the lead. However, Henan FC would equalize in the 60th minute, and from there the rest of the game was filled with heroic saves and some atrocious finishing. And in the end, both teams would walk away with 1 point each. Up until this point, Changchun Yatai were really down bad. Only 15 points from 22 games, and their attack had scored the lowest amount of goals in the league. So if there was any time for Changchun to improve their attacking form, it would be now, as the worst attack in the league faced off against the worst defense in the last few games. And Yunnan Yukun's demise continued as they were dominated at home by, need I remind you, the last place team, and in the 32nd minute, Changchun took the lead through a spectacular free kick. This is it. This might be Changchun's moment. They were holding strong and Yunnan's attack has looked awful all game. They could actually win. That is until stoppage time, when Chinese football saw arguably the worst dive of the year. A penalty was awarded and Yunnan equalized. And yet again, we see a draw on this match day. Next was a title race clash. Chengdu Rongcheng versus Shanghai Port, and it would be the Pandas who took an early lead over the defending champions. Not long after, Chengdu's attack once again cuts through the defense like butter and Felipe doubles the lead. Don't worry, Shanghai Port are the defending champions. They're bound to pull their act together soon. Oh. A penalty is awarded, Felipe grabs his second of the game, 30 minutes gone and Shanghai Port are 3-0 down. Finally, something goes right for Shanghai Port as Li Shuai reduces the deficit 5 minutes later. But this means little as Yan Jinling helplessly watches Chengdu score another. Sichuan Spice is too much to handle as the Pandas demolish Shanghai Port. Next is Wuhan Three Towns versus Chinese Arsenal. Basically, the underwhelming derby. Early on, Shanghai Shenhua make a mistake at the back. Dong Hanwen is left with an open goal and Chinese Arsenal just can't get their act together as all game long they had some horrendous finishing, and defensively they were no better as it just seemed like they would concede something dumb any minute. All game long it wasn't a competition of who was better, but rather who could make the worst blunder. That would turn out to be Shenhua as Jiang Shenglong leaves Tudori completely unmarked and he chips the keeper for an 89th minute winner. Chinese Arsenal, first in the league coming into this match, they have slipped up yet again in their title charge. This left a perfect opening for second place Beijing Guoan because to overtake their hated rivals for first place, all they would have to do is beat Shandong Taishan. This is the same Shandong Taishan team that they demolished earlier in the season, so it would be a simple task. Oh.
Perfectly balanced, this whole thing should be.
Sheikh Mansour Peng City squared off against Major Hakka next, and in the first half, Man City from Timu were awarded a penalty and took the lead. And penalty goalscorer Wesley would grab a brace in the second half as Shenzhen take a simple win. Dalian Yingbo versus Qingdao West Coast. 21st minute, Qingdao get a cross from the right and have a simple chance. 28th minute, Qingdao are building a promising attack and all it takes is one through ball. Qingdao finally figured out their horrible finishing in the 34th minute as they score from a loose ball. Things get worse for Dalian as Chinese Onana gives away the ball and Qingdao doubled their lead. China's current head coach leads Qingdao West Coast to a comfortable win over their mid-table rivals. And finally, Zhejiang FC take on Tianjin Jinmen, or rather, they took on Tianjin Jinmen because this game was played about 2 weeks before the other matches. And I'll be honest with you, I really don't know what to make of the first half. Tianjin had their share of chances but also had some really silly mistakes that almost cost them. The deadlock wouldn't be broken until the 45th minute when Iago Cariello finally scored off a corner. This trend continued in the second half with both sides coming close to scoring on several occasions and no one really had a decisive advantage. That was until stoppage time when Franco Andriasevich scored this beautiful volley and put the game to bed. A 2-0 win for Zhejiang FC as Tianjin continued their inconsistent streak. Right, so how does the league look after match day 23? Well, the relegation battle has gotten even tighter as while Shenzhen Peng City have improved their survival chances, there is now only 1 point separating the bottom three. In mid-table, only 11 points separate 6th to 12th place, while Shandong Taishan is pulling away from the pack. As for the title race, Beijing Guoan is still in contention despite their abysmal loss. Meanwhile, Shanghai Shenhua lose their grip on top spot again as Chengdu Rongcheng now leads the pack. But still, with only 2 points separating the top four, anything can happen. This round kicked off with Shanghai Port versus Yunnan Yukun, and in no time at all, Shanghai Port win a penalty which is converted by... Oh. Despite that early setback, Shanghai Port still took the lead through Leonardo. That lead doesn't last long as Oscar Marito equalizes before the first half ends. But sadly for Yunnan Yukun, as soon as the second half started, the entire backline forgot how to defend and Liu Ruofen retook the lead for Shanghai. And it seems the defense didn't learn from their mistakes because just a few minutes later, this time, with Mateus Vital taking the pen, he converts from the spot. And then, only a few minutes later again, the defense that conceded 23 goals in 5 games possessed the backline and Yunnan has just utterly collapsed. They do manage to get one back 5 minutes later, but it means little as Shanghai Port get their title charge back on track. Next was Henan FC versus Beijing Guoan, a practice run of the CFA Cup final. And it seemed Beijing Guoan's disastrous season was set to keep tumbling as they got lucky not to concede early. Their luck ran out though when, near the end of the first half, Beijing's backline could only watch helplessly as Henan scored a deflected goal. Then, late into the game, Henan win a penalty, which... yeah, that shouldn't be a pen. And Felipe Cardoso converts from the spot. Simple 2-0 win for Henan as the crisis deepens for National Security FC. League leaders Chengdu Rongcheng versus bottom of the table Changchun Yatai. And Chengdu start great as Wei Shihao scores a low free kick from this ridiculous angle. Chengdu's early momentum keeps going as honestly, they should have scored again on multiple occasions. I mean, if any clip could summarize Chengdu's diabolical finishing, it should be this clip. I got no words, I don't know what they were doing. In the end, Chengdu walks away with a 1-0 win as they retain their lead on the CSL. Chinese Arsenal versus Shandong Taishan, and after that disastrous sequence by Chengdu last game, yeah, I pity the commentators. What is this? Finally, someone shows a bit of attacking competence as Wang Haijian scores an Olympico. However, Shandong Taishan respond quickly as Chinese Arsenal concede to Kazashvili. Determined not to slip further, Shenhua rammed their way through Shandong's backline and Wang Dalei fouls Liu Chengyu in the box. Penalty to Shenhua, and Shenhua captain Wu Xi retakes the lead from the spot. However, Chinese Arsenal get back to their usual antics and Kazashvili equalizes again right before halftime. Not to worry because when the second half begins, Xu Haoyang slams a powerful header into the net. Shenhua lead for the third time, and with only a few minutes left, Shenhua hold on to rejoin the title race. And with that, Chinese Arsenal bottle yet again and a Kazashvili hat-trick leaves their title hopes dwindling. Qingdao West Coast versus Zhejiang FC. And with Shao Jiayi's side on the front foot for most of the game, they got a lot of good chances but just couldn't finish. When the second half began though, the warning signs started to show. They were being pushed back more and more, and Zhejiang gradually got more chances. And Zhejiang finally finished one of those chances in the 65th minute. Then in stoppage time, Zhejiang's win was secured by the Chinese version of Marcus Rashford. Seriously, Hao Qianglong has been the next big thing for... how many years now? But anyways, simple 2-0 win for Wang Yudong FC, Dalian Yingguo versus Sheikh Mansour Peng City, and it would be the City Football Group's Chinese club that drew first blood. But as soon as the second half begins, Shenzhen concede a penalty. The attempt is saved, but the second loose ball is scored and Dalian equalize. And late into the game, a low cross from the left sets up Liu Zhuren who finishes the comeback. 2-1 win for Dalian as they end their 3-game losing streak. Tianjin Jinmen versus Wuhan Three Towns. And lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, we may have a new contender for the worst goalkeeper in China. Wuhan's goalkeeper continues to act like he's allergic to the ball, and Qiles scores off the corner. Tianjin keeps piling on the misery for Wuhan as Zada scores from outside the box. Is it Zada's? How does... anyway. And finally, Wuhan's defense can't protect their disastrous keeper, and that ends a horrendous night for Wuhan Three Towns. In the end, Tianjin take an emphatic 4-0 victory. And finally, a relegation matchup. Meizhou Haka versus Qingdao Hainiu. Initially, Meizhou did really well getting some good chances and getting close to scoring, but then, all their momentum suddenly died and their goalkeeper had to carry the team. Meizhou finally pulled their act together and take the lead just before halftime. Qingdao Hainiu pushed hard to make a comeback and their moment came in the 74th minute when they get an open goal.
Viven en un country. Andan en BMW para arriba.
And Meizhou Haka secure 3 points that could be crucial to their bid for survival. So now, let's summarize the table. In the relegation spots, Qingdao Hainiu and Changchun Yatai are tied on points and only 4 points away from survival. Meizhou Haka seem to be pulling away at the moment but still can't afford any slips. In mid-table, Wuhan Three Towns continue to underperform and could be in danger of relegation. By the way, this team was in the Asian Champions League in 2023. Leading the pack are Tianjin Jinmen and Zhejiang FC, both tied on point, and Shandong Taishan. For the title race, Beijing Guoan has fallen hopelessly behind, while Shanghai Shunhua's 300 slip could prove costly. But still, the top three are only 3 points apart with 6 games left to go. We start off with the fallen giants, Wuhan Three Towns, and this season's underdogs, Henan FC. And despite being a long way from their glory days, Wuhan actually started this game pretty well. But it didn't take long for all those good vibes to instantly die as Henan took the lead thanks to Frank and Qianhua. Henan pressed their advantage hard and Wuhan held on for dear life, but it was all for naught as Henan doubled their lead through a loose ball off a corner. Henan don't let the foot off the gas as they score a third goal after halftime. And now trailing 3-0, Wuhan seemed like they pretty much gave up because yeah, I don't even know what they were trying. The total collapse continues because Henan miss another chance, but Wuhan give them another try for free and they still miss it. And before we've even reached the 60th minute, Wuhan's entire backline takes the day off as Henan demolish their opponents. Mind you, this was a home game for Wuhan. Their fans had to sit through this utter violation. Wuhan finally got something going as they get 2 consolation goals, but doesn't even matter at this point. This was like Brazil vs Germany 2014. Wuhan might actually get relegated. Yunnan Yukun vs Dalian Yingbo. And listen, if you ever wondered why I hated having Ma Zhen in the national team so much, here's your answer. Yeah, he's Fan Zhiyi's son-in-law. But we have so many options for backup keepers, and this is who we call up? Yunnan don't give up and try to find a way back into the game, but are denied. Take notes, Ma Zhen, this is what a keeper should be doing. But Dalian's defensive efforts prove to be for naught as Oscar Maritu equalizes with a powerful header, and the game ends level. Changchun Yatai vs Zhejiang FC, the Chinese version of Southampton, versus the club with China's most promising wonder kid. And that didn't take long. After that stupid challenge, Changchun Yatai scored off the free kick, but just a few minutes later, Mitrita responds by scoring from this insane angle. And in the second half, Zhejiang took the lead through an own goal. But Changchun don't want to accept this. Survival was on the line, and with their late season charge to avoid relegation, Changchun don't want to squander this chance. 69th minute, no one in Zhejiang's backline reacts to a lifted pass and Changchun equalize. And with the defense overloading their left flank, no one notices their wide open right side, and just like that, Changchun Yatai have scored a late winner. Or that would be the case, but in literally the last play of the game, the defense assists Zhejiang and it ends level. Changchun Yatai, I am at a loss for words. You know, first you score that comical own goal, and now you pull this. Look, this is how close you were.
Rubbish after rubbish after rubbish after.
From one relegation candidate to another. Meizhou Hakka versus Qingdao West Coast. And Meizhou did not get off to a good start as Qingdao West Coast scored after everyone misses this free kick, but they would quickly equalize off a corner. Meizhou tried to take advantage of their momentum, but it's like a child reaching for a cookie jar. But to be fair, Qingdao West Coast weren't much better. Sadly for Meizhou, their own player plays in Qingdao West Coast and they score a 62nd minute winner. This brother definitely had money on the game. And just like that, Meizhou Hakka lose what could be a crucial match. Qingdao Hainiu versus Shandong Taishan, and it would be Shandong to score first as Li Xiaoheng scores a header. Things only get worse for Qingdao Hainiu as they get a handball in the box and concede a penalty, which Krisen tucks away. Shandong Taishan are sailing along, but not so fast because Wang Dalei misses this ball and Qingdao Hainiu pull one back.
Leave the football before the football leaves you.
And in the last minute of stoppage time, literally the last play of the game, Shandong's backline switch off and Qingdao Hainiu equalize. Thus, it ends level in what could be a crucial result for Qingdao Hainiu's bid for survival. National Security FC versus Shanghai Port. And Beijing Guoan's downfall continues as Shanghai Port easily get behind their line and score off a deflected shot. But on the stroke of halftime, Beijing Guoan are awarded a penalty and Fabio Abreu equalizes. The score wouldn't stay level for long as Beijing Guoan's defense are caught ball watching and Shanghai Port take the lead again. Things get worse for Beijing because late in the second half, their backline goes missing for the 9,000th time and Shanghai Port take a 3-1 lead. The Imperial Guards pull another one back late in the game through club legend Zhang Xizhe, but it's too little, too late as Beijing Guoan's early title charge becomes something of a joke now. Tianjin Jinmen Tiger versus Sheikh Mansour, Shenzhen Peng City. And throughout the first half, chance after chance came for Tianjin Jinmen, but I swear, it's like this team is allergic to scoring despite having a golden boot contender. And finally, this team would take the lead just before halftime. From there, Tianjin continued to squander chances, and this almost costed them with a very close miss by Shenzhen. But Tianjin held on for dear life and managed to grind out for a 1-0 win. Finally, we end with a title clash. Chinese Arsenal versus Chengdu Rongcheng, and after missing several good chances, Shanghai Shenhua took the lead in the second half through Shinichi Chan. But Chinese Arsenal just can't stop bottling because with the last kick of the game, Tim Chow equalizes for Chengdu. Do you see why I call this team Chinese Arsenal now? Because at this point of the season, they had won one game out of their last 7. 7! But let's see how the table has changed. No one changes positions in the relegation battle, and both of the most likely candidates are still only 3 points from safety. In mid-table, Qingdao West Coast overtake Dalian Yingbo, while Tianjin Jinmen overtakes Zhejiang. And in the title race, the main 3 contenders are Chengdu Rongcheng, who still lead the title charge, Shanghai Port hot on their heels, and Shanghai Shenhua. Yeah, let's be honest, no one's really taking them serious now. We start off with Shanghai Shenhua versus Meizhou Haka, and I guess they finally got sick of their Chinese Arsenal moniker because Shenhua were ruthless in this game. Led by veteran captain Wu Xi, the Blue Devils showed zero mercy and fully encapsulated that coughing baby versus atomic bomb meme. I mean, when a 36-year-old midfielder gets a brace, you know the team is pissed. It got to the point where even closet Indonesia fan Yang Zexiang was scoring. At this rate, we'll break the record for, oh, look, Meizhou scored. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program, and Leonid Slutsky's side cap off their beating of Meizhou Haka. 6-1. A statement win, and Shanghai Shenhua have potentially just stabilized the ship. Beijing Guoan versus Dalian Yingbo. For the first time since their season derailed, Beijing Guoan had a good start as Fabio gave them the lead, and 006 doubled it a few minutes after. It wouldn't get better for Dalian as their backline is caught playing musical statues, and Fabio grabs a second goal. Well, actually, for a moment it looked like the old incompetent Beijing Guoan was creeping in, as just 2 minutes later, they somehow conceded twice in the span of 1 minute. But Beijing got back on track and sealed their win after Dalian's keeper lets a shot squeeze under his arm. 4-2 win for Beijing Guoan, and I mean, they're not really in the title race anymore, but good for them, I guess. Shanghai Port versus Wuhan Three Towns. Basically, Chinese Man City versus... Actually, you know what? I don't think calling them Chinese Man United is entirely accurate. They're a fairly new club, it's just... their downfall has been insane. And as proof of that, Shanghai Port took the lead in the 37th minute. But unluckily for Shanghai Port, their goalkeeper is Yan Junlin, and in the span of 3 minutes, he concedes not 1, but 2 goals. But luckily for Yan Junlin, even if he's terrible, the rest of the Shanghai Port team are still really good, and they respond with a late equalizer, as well as Leonardo scoring a stoppage time winner. 3-2 to Shanghai Port as they secure a critical win in their title charge. And we cover the other major title contender next, Zhejiang FC versus Chengdu Rongcheng, and Chengdu get a great start as a lifted pass meets the head of Romulo, and it's 1-0 to Chengdu. Romulo must be on that panda spice as he grabs his second off a free kick. And Chengdu fans are in absolute delirium as Captain Tim Chow scores a third before we've even reached halftime. But after that third goal, it was like a switch flipped, and all of a sudden, Chengdu's entire team forgot how to play football. Just a few minutes later, Zhejiang pull one back. And then on the stroke of halftime, Iago Cariello reduces the deficit to 1. Zhejiang keep pushing to find a third, and in the last play of stoppage time, they find the equalizer and Zhejiang goes bonkers. Zhejiang FC have just plunged a knife into Chengdu Rongcheng's title charge with a 3-3 draw that could be costly. Next, we have a relegation match, Changchun Yatai versus Qingdao Hainiu. These two are both in the relegation spots, tied on points, so it's a crucial game for both. Seriously? That horrendous challenge sees Changchun Yatai reduced to 10 men, and I guess the goalkeeper is his team's inspiration because just a few minutes later, they try to kill the opposition again. This results in Qingdao Hainiu taking the lead through a free kick. Changchun just can't stop messing up as their defender loses the ball and gives an easy goal to... Yeah, Qingdao, you're in a relegation spot for a reason. Changchun Yatai's backline continues to be clueless, and in the 72nd minute, Qingdao take a 2-0 lead. Not so fast because in added time, Changchun Yatai send a long ball forward, it pinballs off the defender, and 10,000-year-old Tan Long halves the deficit. No, I will not stop doing him dirty. And deep into stoppage time, Xinjiang youngster Everton Asker pokes a loose ball into the net, and Changchun have equalized. Changchun Yatai saved themselves from disaster at home and secure a point in this matchup. Tianjin Jinmen versus this season's ultimate underdogs, Henan FC. And Tianjin looked shaky right off the bat, getting pinned in their own half and getting quite a few close calls. But fear not, because Tianjin have Asia's GOAT. He is the best, the greatest, the most outstanding player from Asia who has gained fame all over the world. You may have even heard of him. Everyone, I present to you the best Asian player of all time, Sun Heung-min from Timu. Receiving the ball on the left, Sun Ming-him twists his defender inside out and sends a deflected cross into the nets. But sadly, it's ruled out because Alberto Quiles interfered with play from an offside position. Seemingly demoralized by that decision, Tianjin continued to concede chances and near misses, but Henan could never get the ball into the back of the net. However, Tianjin do get a counterattack in the second half as Henan's keeper spills a shot and captain Wang Xiuming gives Tianjin the lead. And showing a familiar pattern, Tianjin hold on for dear life and almost score an own goal but managed to fight to a 1-0 win. Sheikh Mansour Peng City versus Qingdao West Coast. And early on, Shenzhen gave their home fans some joy as Okay, listen, Qingdao West Coast. I know you get carried by Li Hao on a game-by-game basis, but what is this? What is your defense doing? Only a few minutes later, Shenzhen get a chance to score a second, but it's saved by Li Hao. And then a few minutes after that, Qingdao get a counterattack and equalize thanks to their captain. Then, in the 20th minute, Shenzhen's goalkeeper forgets he isn't playing American football and concedes a penalty. But on a VAR review, the attacker is booked for diving instead. Shao Jiayi's team keep pushing for another goal and come close several times, and then their chance came. Earlier, we saw Shenzhen's keeper thinking he was playing American football. Now we have the defender Yang Mingyang thinking he's playing in the NBA, and Qingdao West Coast take the lead from the spot. From there, Qingdao hold on and Li Hao stops Shenzhen from equalizing. 2-1 to Qingdao West Coast, and Shenzhen Peng City could be in real trouble. Finally, we come to the last match of the match day. Shandong Taishan versus Yunnan Yukun. Shandong begin well enough setting up a point-blank header which is saved by Ma Zhen. And from one good goalkeeper to another, Wang Dalei saves a good chance for Yunnan. But Shandong can't hold out forever, and the most overhyped naturalized player takes the lead for Yunnan. And Yunnan seek to build up their momentum, but on-field captain Wang Dalei keeps it from getting any worse for Shandong. And then in the 65th minute, Li Xiaoheng equalizes off a free kick. That's all she wrote, as Shandong Taishan failed to do anything else and walk away with just 1 point. Okay, so let's review the table now. The relegation battle has gotten even tighter as both teams in the bottom spots are now just 2 points from safety. So Meizhou Haka and Shenzhen Peng City can't afford any more slip-ups. In mid-table, no one switches spots, but notably Tianjin Jinmen is now tied on points with 5th place Shandong Taishan. And finally, the title race. Chengdu Rongcheng's drop points take them out of the top spot, and Shanghai Port now lead the table. Shanghai Shenhua meanwhile are just 3 points behind, and Beijing Guoan. We begin match day 27 with Qingdao Hainiu versus Shanghai Port. And what a match we have on our hands, a team battling relegation taking on the league leaders, and against the odds, they actually scored first. But Shanghai Port had a title to defend and equalized just 3 minutes later through Gabriel Zinho. And the onslaught keeps coming as in the 31st minute, Leonardo chips the keeper to give Shanghai Port the lead. But it became clear that this game would be absolute cinema because just a few minutes later, Qingdao Hainiu score again to level the game for a second time. And as if to prove as much, only 3 minutes later Leonardo scored this beautiful volley to retake the lead. That is now 5 goals in just the first half. But we aren't done yet because in the second half, both teams come close to scoring as one looks to ward off relegation and another is fighting to retain its crown. Then in the 89th minute, youngster Li Xinxiang cuts in from the right and scores to put Shanghai Port up by 2. But we're still not done as Qingdao Hainiu score again in stoppage time and refuse to give up, but in the end it's not quite enough. 4-3 to Shanghai Port as they claim victory in one of the most thrilling games of the season. From one title contender to another, next up we have Chengdu Rongcheng versus Meizhou Haka. Yet again, a title contender taking on a team in danger of relegation. And taking advantage of an early mistake by Meizhou's backline, Chengdu take the lead thanks to Yang Mingyang, but only a few minutes later, Meizhou Haka equalized with a deflected shot. But sadly for Meizhou, they never showed the fight Qingdao Hainiu did, as Chengdu dominated the rest of the game and comfortably took the win. Simple 3-1 win for Chengdu Rongcheng as they keep the pressure on Shanghai Port. Meanwhile for Meizhou, this loss could prove costly. Qingdao West Coast versus Chinese Arsenal. And living up to that nickname, Shanghai Shenhua conceded early through a free kick. But just a few minutes later, the Flower of Shanghai win a sketchy penalty and Captain Wu Xi equalizes. It's okay though. It's Shanghai Shenhua, you know? They always bottle. It always happens. And on top of that, Qingdao West Coast have China's most promising young goalkeeper. So realistically, all they need to do is hold on. Yeah, you know where this is going. This is a weekly gag at this point. And it seems Qingdao West Coast didn't learn because Zhang Chengdong completely loses it at the officials and gets himself a red card too. And despite their opponents being down to 9 men, Shenhua could only score off a corner and barely come out of this game with a win. Do you see why I call them Chinese Arsenal? Shenzhen Peng City versus Beijing Guoan. And I am so glad I studied this downfall because early in the game, goalkeeper Hosen completely loses the plot and gives Shenzhen an easy goal. And yet again, the defense goes missing for the national security team and Shenzhen take a 2-0 lead. Finally, Beijing would start waking up in the second half and pulled one back through Chinese Darwin Nunez. But at this point of the season, expecting this team to be competent in any way is apparently too much to ask. And thus, Beijing Guoan fall to Sheikh Mansour Peng City. I'm sorry, but Beijing Guoan, at the start of the season, you were title contenders. And now here you are, losing to Shenzhen Peng City. Shenzhen Peng City! You know, the team that on the last match day was only 2 points from relegation. Like, this is actually crazy. You've only won 1 of your last 5 games. Zhejiang FC versus Shandong Taishan, and I'm not gonna lie, that is the worst dive I've ever seen. The dude hits the defender and goes down. What is this? Thankfully, justice prevails as Kazashvili's pen is saved. Shandong keep up the pressure though, and it pays dividends as national team fraudster Huang Zhengyu scores a half volley. But karma is still at play because just 2 minutes later, Zhejiang equalize, and the second half would begin well for the Green Giants as they score a beautiful banger and are on their way to... Never mind. Krisan scores a legitimate penalty this time and it would end level for both teams. Yunnan Yukun versus Tianjin Jinmen, and early on Yunnan dominated as Tianjin keeper Yan Bingliang was the only thing keeping his team alive. But they would concede a handball pen and... yeah. No trouble from Oscar Maritu from the spot as Yunnan take the lead. And in the second half, Henrique scored the winner for Yunnan. No way back for Tianjin because offensively they were terrible. And it ends as a simple 2-0 win for Yunnan Yukun. Dalian Yingbo versus Wuhan Three Towns. Dalian dominated proceedings, getting Wuhan to fall for the same attacking sequence twice in the first half and coming close to scoring many times, but their finishing was non-existent, and it would end scoreless. Moving on, our last game of the round is Henan FC versus Changchun Yatai. Changchun are doing their reputation no favors as it quickly becomes clear to the world why they were in danger of relegation. 18-year-old goalkeeper An Zhicheng was basically carrying the team. But he couldn't ward off Henan forever as Bruno Nazario scored this banger to take the lead. And smelling blood, Henan built on their momentum to score a second goal. That would be the score as Changchun are running out of time to escape the drop. And as usual, let's see how the table has changed. Both relegation teams lost, leaving them still just 2 points from safety, but Shenzhen Peng City's win against the funniest team in China sees them pulling away from the relegation zone. Meanwhile in mid-table, still nothing of note as Shandong Taishan are simply too far from Beijing Guoan to mount any meaningful charge for 4th place. But in the title race, aside from Beijing Guoan, the CSL crown is still hanging on a knife's edge as Chengdu Rongcheng and the Shanghai teams are separated by only 3 points. We start off with mid-table Mandem's Wuhan Three Towns against Sheikh Mansour Peng City. And I guess we're still doing the worst goalkeeper in China competition as he misses the ball entirely, giving Shenzhen the lead. Again? Listen, I don't know if any of you are sick of the Shaolin gag, and I know I keep using it every single video, but I can't help it. I'm going to keep using it. I can't help it. It happens every match day. That challenge reduced Shenzhen City to 10 Hey, does anyone else think that looks like Jianhao Tan? But despite having the man advantage, things somehow got worse for Wuhan as Shenzhen took a 2-0 lead in the second half. And at this point, I'm starting to think Wuhan's keeper has money on the game or something because I have no idea what he's doing, but the rest of the team bails him out. At this point, it's becoming clear Wuhan can't do anything right, so Shenzhen said, fine, I'll do it myself. But that own goal can't save Wuhan as they lose at home again. Remember, this team was in the Asian Champions League back in 2023. And now they're losing to the City Football Group's Chinese feeder club. Meizhou Haka versus Yunnan Yukun, and being just barely above the relegation zone, Meizhou really need to perform. And it looked good as Meizhou got the majority of the chances in the first half, including one where they almost scored with a goalkeeper fumble. But just like this team has been doing all season, they fall apart as Henrique gives Yunnan the lead. Not really surprising. This team thus far has had the worst defense in the entire league. Only a few minutes later, Yunnan extend their lead through Nene, you know, like the Shin-chan character. Soon enough, Yunnan scored a third goal off a free kick, and by the time the fourth goal came, yeah, you know Meizhou pretty much gave up. Well, Meizhou do get a consolation goal, but it was too little, too late. Oh, and you know what, just for good measure, was there really any point? You are 4-1 down in stoppage time. Yet another costly loss for Meizhou Haka, and now, depending on how the other games go, this could be the moment that tanks their whole season. Tianjin Jinmen versus Changchun Yatai, and Tianjin's backline makes a mistake early into the game, giving Changchun Yatai an easy goal. Tianjin's defense continues to self-sabotage as we then conceded an own goal. Yeah, this is never ending, but believe it or not, despite Changchun Yatai going down to 10 men, it took until stoppage time for Tianjin Jinmen to score, and even when they did, they actually didn't. And it would take this team until the last minute of stoppage time to finally equalize. In the end, Tianjin Jinmen walked away with a draw, and Changchun Yatai may regret that red card with only 2 games left to escape danger. Henan FC versus Zhejiang FC. Felipe Cardoso's shot is saved and leaves a simple clearance for Li Tixiang. The Unk gets bailed out by his team as in the second half, Henan's backline is caught napping at the far post and Zhejiang equalized. But Li Tixiang's nightmare continues as he concedes, okay, that shouldn't be a penalty. But all the same, Felipe Cardoso puts it home. Karma wouldn't forgive that sin though, because in stoppage time, Zhejiang equalized again, and it would end level between the season's premier underdogs and Wang Yudong FC. Shandong Taishan versus Shanghai Ports. And looking to continue their league conquest, Shanghai Port would score early through rising star Li Xinxiang, and for a while it became a goalkeeping contest as both Yan Junling and Wang Dalei, coincidentally longtime rivals for the national team's goalkeeper spot, made save after save to keep their teams in the game. Then, in the 41st minute, Shanghai Port's defense goes MIA as Kasashvili equalizes for Shandong. The defensive woes continue for Shanghai Port as Liu Yang takes the lead for Shandong in the second half, and in the 77th minute, Kasashvili scores a third for the home side. This is a massive moment in the title race as uncharacteristically, Shanghai Port slip up late in the season and give a perfect chance for their rivals to overtake them. And look at that, here come one of said rivals as Qingdao West Coast take on Chengdu Rongcheng. Well, too bad for Chengdu, their entire defense falls asleep in the first half and they concede. Chengdu don't learn from their mistakes, keep defending like actual pandas, and in the 57th minute, Qingdao West Coast take a 2-0 lead. Finally, Sichuan Spice starts kicking in as Felipe gets one for the visitors, and then in the last play of the game, Felipe equalizes for Panda FC. Sadly, this late into the season, Chengdu Rongcheng need a win and don't do enough to earn it. But here come another one of those rivals, Shanghai Shenhua versus Dalian Yingguo, and Shanghai Shenhua are fully aware. This is their chance to... Here we go again. Do you guys realize the title is on the line here? Oh look, they do know. Shenhua finally shows some fight and Captain Wu Xi pulls one back. And in stoppage time, Wu Xi is fouled in the box and Shenhua gets a penalty. Andre Luis equalizes for the home side and there is hope once more. I mean, Slutsky always looks tired and I think I get why now. Shenhua utterly failed to take advantage of Shanghai Port's slip-up and they now have just 2 games to win the league. I said this in the last video, but... do you see why I call this team Chinese Arsenal? Finally, we reached the last game. National Security FC versus Qingdao Hainiu. Beijing Guan start well with Fabio taking a 20th minute lead. But like this team has been doing for half the season now, Beijing lose control of the game and it looks like they would inevitably concede. Until finally... and just like that, Beijing Guoan have conceded a penalty and let their opponents equalize. Beijing would respond quickly through 006 and regain the lead, but immediately after, the defense once again proves they're held together by scotch tape and the burden of defending all fell on goalkeeper Hou Sen. Unbelievably, in the 86th minute, Beijing let Qingdao Hainiu equalize again. Then in stoppage time, one lifted pass bamboozles the entire backline and Qingdao Hainiu take the lead, pouncing on this golden chance to escape relegation. Just a few minutes later, Qingdao destroy Beijing's Finnish defense again, and that kills off the game. 4-2 to Qingdao Hainiu, and this late in the season, it finally gives them full control over their own destiny. So let's review the league table again. Qingdao Hainiu's 3 points against Beijing Guoan see them finally climb out of the relegation zone and Meizhou Haka take their place. Meanwhile, Wuhan Three Towns drop down into danger, and while they're unlikely to be relegated, it's still theoretically possible. Shenzhen Peng City's recent wins see them just barely join the mid-table area, while the rest of the mid-table teams retain their positions for the most part. And finally, the title race. Beijing Guoan are now out of the running, but it's once again tight between the Shanghai teams and Chengdu Rongcheng. Although, let's be honest here. Given the kind of form Shanghai Shenhua have been showing whenever they need to perform, we all know in our hearts they aren't winning. They are Chinese Arsenal after all. They never perform when it matters. We start match day 29 with Shanghai Port versus Zhejiang FC, and early into the game, China's most overrated young defender gives Shanghai the lead. Shanghai Port continue to pummel the Zhejiang net, looking to make up for their grievances last round, and in the second half, club legend Wang Shenchao scores a second for the Red Eagles. And it's just too easy for Chinese Man City as they score a third off of a free kick. Routine win for Shanghai Port as they restore their title-winning form. Chinese Arsenal versus Shenzhen Peng City. And it takes less than 2 minutes for Shanghai Shenhua to take the lead. And knowing they needed a win to stay alive in the title race, Shanghai Shenhua relentlessly strike at Shenzhen's net. But somehow, nothing else would go in. It doesn't matter much though, because Shanghai Shenhua walk away with 3 points and manage to keep the pressure on the league leaders. And now we reach second place Chengdu Rongcheng facing off against Henan FC, and the hosts took an early lead via a free kick. However, the second half begins horribly for Chengdu as Henan's Zhong Yihao sends a shot that somehow slits under Liu Dianzuo, China's third-choice goalkeeper, ladies and gentlemen. So Jian Wang's side keep the pressure up and come agonizingly close to scoring again, but the underdogs of the season won't let up. Then, late in the game, He Chao sends this banger of a volley into Liu Dianzuo's net, and the Pandas are left stunned. That's it. That's all she wrote as Chengdu Rongcheng fumbled their title charge. Shandong Taishan versus Tianjin Jinmeng, and at this point, mid-table hasn't changed a whole lot, so I'll just summarize this match. Shandong scored first, dominated the game, scored again in the first half, won a penalty, missed the penalty. Tianjin went down to 10 men and pulled one back late into the game. Very routine win for Shandong Taishan. Moving on. Changchun Yatai versus Beijing Guoan, and having been at the bottom of the table for so long, what better team for Changchun to face than this season's chronic underperformers? Never mind, they just let 006 score. Then, to make things worse, Changchun Yatai concede a penalty, but luckily for them, it's saved. Unluckily for them, there was an encroachment, and on the retake, Fabio Abreu scores. It's now 2-0 to the national security team. Things didn't get any better for Changchun in the second half as they concede to Chinese Darwin Nunez, and off a defender's mistake, Fabio Abreu piles on the misery for Changchun Yatai. And that's it. Changchun Yatai are finished and doomed. From one relegation candidate to another, next, we have Meizhou Haka versus Dalian Yunbo. Dalian quickly go on the offensive and take the lead in the 18th minute, and the first half continues to be miserable for Meizhou as a shot by Dalian smashes off the bar, but the second ball is headed in, 2-0 to Dalian. Meizhou shows some promise in the second half and hit the woodwork several times before finally getting lucky from a corner. And finally, in the 86th minute, Meizhou's moment of salvation comes as a cutback ends up in the back of the net via an own goal. Meizhou Haka saved themselves from disaster as a loss would have doomed them to relegation, but as it stands, they are still alive. And now we cover the team Meizhou have been battling against for survival, Qingdao Hainiu, and they host Wuhan Three Towns. And Wuhan's downfall continues as their goalkeeper's blunder gives Qingdao an easy lead. Qingdao Hainiu continued the onslaught for the entire first half as they come closer and closer to scoring again. But in the second half, Wuhan would finally pull their act together and produce real danger. They finally score a goal, but it's called offside. For the rest of the game, Qingdao Hainiu score on to secure a narrow win. Wuhan Three Towns give 3 points to Qingdao Hainiu, which are crucial for their relegation battle. By the way, I know I keep bringing this up, but between these two teams, guess which one was in the Asian Champions League just over 2 years ago? And finally, we reach the last game of the match day. Yunnan Yukun versus Qingdao West Coast. In just 2 minutes, the entire Qingdao backline plays the worst offside trap ever and Yunnan Yukun take the lead. 13 minutes later, Yunnan Yukun almost scored through the same sequence, but goalkeeper Wang Hanyi is there to save it. Clearly, he's been taking lessons from Li He as the rest of the first half pretty much became Qingdao West Coast getting pummeled left, right, and center, and Wang Hanyi carrying the defense. This flipped in the second half because Qingdao West Coast started gaining momentum and it was Ma Zhen's turn to shine. His late save was overshadowed by another last-minute save by Wang Hanyi, and this mid-table clash ends as a 1-0 win for Yunnan Yukun. Okay, we are almost at the end of the 2025 season. I know, I've been taking so long with this. So, what happened in the league? At the bottom, Changchun Yatai are the first team to be officially relegated. They put up a decent fight near the end of the season, but it was too little, too late. Wuhan Three Towns are officially safe from relegation, which leaves Qingdao Hainyu just barely above the danger zone, and Meizhou Haka looking to escape it just 3 points behind Qingdao Hainyu. Meizhou Haka has the advantage in head-to-head points, so if Qingdao Hainyu loses and Meizhou wins their final game, they could escape relegation. In mid-table, not much has changed and most spots are set in stone, but notably, this season's underdogs Henan FC have been climbing the spots lately. And finally, what you were all waiting for, the title race. Having lost their most recent game, Chengdu Rongcheng are out of contention for the league title, which is now between Shanghai Port and Shanghai Shenhua, with only 2 points separating them. These two have identical head-to-head points, identical head-to-head goal difference, and identical head-to-head goals scored. So in the case that these two are tied on points in the last match day, it will come down to goal difference, and there the advantage lies firmly with Shanghai Shenhua. So to ensure they win the title, Shanghai Port need to win their last game. If they draw against Dalian and Shenhua win against Tianjin, Shanghai Shenhua will win the title. Finally! We have finally reached the end of this saga. This is it! The last match day of the 2025 Chinese Super League season. Can Shanghai Shenhua beat their city rivals to the title? Can Meizhou Haka escape relegation? We'll start with a disclaimer. While before this video, my reviews usually had me going through the matches one by one, on the final match day, all games started at the same time. So I'm gonna try something new this time. I'll get the mid-table games out of the way first, or the games that aren't related to the title race or the relegation battle. Then, after that's done, I'm going to cover both the title race and the relegation battle minute by minute. So, let's go. All games kick off with Meizhou hoping to survive relegation. As a reminder, to do that they need to win against Beijingguo, while Qingdao Hainyu needs to lose to Zhejiang FC. And of course, we have other teams playing and hoping to end the season on a high note and not do anything silly. Oh wait, what's that? Chengdu Rongcheng already conceded? Paying a visit to Shenzhenpeng City, Chengdu's defender makes a mistake and they've conceded in just 44 seconds. Meanwhile, in Shenzhen, in the 19th minute, Felipe equalizes for Chengdu off a cross from the left. And for the rest of their game, and I really do mean the rest of the game, Chengdu Rongcheng get a ridiculous amount of chances, but somehow, with every chance they got, their strikers turned into pandas in front of goal. And so Chengdu end their game in a draw. Henan FC versus Yunnan Yukun. Henan aren't really fighting for a league position at this point of the season, but since they were still in contention for the CFA Cup, ending the season on a high note would be the most ideal. In just 19 minutes, the season's underdogs take the lead against Yunnan Yukun, the perfect chance to end their league season on a high note. If they can get into the CFA Cup in this form, they'll have nothing to worry about. And ultimately, Henan FC would end their league season with a draw. Wuhan Three Towns, aka pre-2026 Wolves, versus Shandong Taishan, and this match had one of the funniest starts I've ever seen. Wuhan scores first, great reaction to a loose ball. Then Shandong score after passing through the entire defense. Then Wuhan score again after evading the entire backline. That's 3 goals in less than 30 minutes. A dream start to the game, like imagine the excitement. But guess what? I kid you not. All 3 goals were ruled out for offside. Finally, someone scores a goal that isn't offside, and Zeka takes the lead for Shandong. Just before halftime, the backline leaves Liu Yang unmarked and he doubles the lead. Then in the second half, Shandong win a penalty and Valery Kazashvili makes it 3-0. But stepping away from Henan's defense getting violated for just a minute, I want to share some personal feelings with you. In my personal life recently, I felt a little bit empty lately. I don't know, I can't really articulate it well. I'm not even really sure how to explain it. It's just, I can't shake this feeling that something's missing in my life. Ah, there it is. Shandong finally slip up and concede this dumb penalty. Oh, and look who the culprit was. Why Huang Zhongyu keeps getting called up for China, I will never know. But luckily for the midfield fraud, Wang Dalei saves the spot kick. And Wuhan's miserable night continues as Kazashvili grabs a brace. They finally get something right as one of their shots bounces off the post, but the second ball is forced in. But the backline of Wuhan has terrorism beyond what the attack can compensate for, and just a few minutes later, Krisan grabs a goal too. And just like that, Wuhan 3 times get destroyed 5-1 at home. This was how their last game of the season ended. At home. We also can't forget about Qingdao West Coast hosting Changchun Yatai, and Qingdao West Coast get a lucky break as Changchun's keeper forgets how to dive. The goalkeeper does redeem himself because without him, the scoreline would be a lot worse, but all the same, Changchun Yatai lose 1-0 and end the season in 16th place. Okay, now that we've gotten all of those games out of the way, let's start covering the title race and the relegation battle minute by minute. The title could go to either Shanghai club. Second place Shanghai Shenhua need to win against Tianjin Jinmen and hope that Shanghai Port doesn't win against Dalian Yingbo. If that happens, Shenhua will win the Chinese Super. Oh, look at that. 4 minutes gone and Shanghai Port already have the lead. For a costly moment, the entire Dalian defense shuts down and defending champions Shanghai Port take the lead through Gabriel Zinio. And now the CSL title is in Shanghai Port's hands. As long as they can hold onto this lead, the league is theirs. Looking to keep the pressure on their rivals, Shanghai Shenhua score a goal with no dubious behavior from Tianjin whatsoever. So now, Shanghai Port need to stay ahead of Dalian. Let's switch over to the relegation battle, and it's a miracle for Meizhou Haka. In the 32nd minute, Zhejiang FC take the lead against Qingdao Hainiu, meaning if this result holds and Meizhou win their game, they escape relegation. But sadly for Meizhou, their opponents Beijing Guan chose this game to lock in. It took only 18 minutes for the national security team to take the lead through Fabio Abreu. Meizhou get a few decent chances, but sadly, they can't make any of them count. And they continue to show why their defense is the worst in the entire league, as on the stroke of halftime, Fabio gets another goal. Just to make things worse for Meizhou, in the other game Qingdao Hainiu equalized through Wellington Silva. In the second half, Zhejiang FC managed to retake the lead off a corner, but late in the match, Zhejiang go down to 10 men, and then in the dying minutes, Qingdao Hainiu equalized again. And this game would end level as Qingdao Hainiu saved themselves from relegation. Not that them losing would have helped Meizhou, because even though they managed 1 goal back, Beijing Guan spent the whole game spanking their defense. When you're in a relegation battle and your backline is going missing all the time, and your goalkeeper is pulling this nonsense, you know you're in trouble. And so, Meizhou Haka are confirmed to be relegated as they get demolished 5-1 by the national security team. So now, that just leaves the title race. Shanghai Shenhua are doing their part, winning a penalty and converting from the spot. And seeing as the entire Tianjin backline has pulled the greatest vanishing act of all time, Shanghai Shenhua had no problem securing the win despite conceding 1 late in the game. So now, all their hopes lay on Dalian Yingbo. As long as Dalian can equalize against Shanghai Port, Shenhua would win the title. And it didn't look promising as in the first half, Shanghai Port retained their attacking momentum, determined to score another. But in the second half, something had to have changed as Shanghai Port instead switched to hanging onto their slender lead. Dalian only need 1. 72nd minute, Zhu Pengyu dinks a through ball to a teammate, but the shot is horribly wide. Only 2 minutes later, a loose ball off a corner leads to another shot, but it goes over. 79th minute, Dalian take a fantastic free kick, but it's met by an even better save by Yan Junling. I never thought I would say that. Never, ever, ever. 88th minute, a corner is headed out. Dalian strike the ball from the outside the box, but it's deflected just wide. And in the 90th minute, Dalian send a free kick into the box and their header hits the post. After hanging on for dear life, Shanghai Port barely win against Dalian Yingbo and are crowned the 2025 CSL champions. Meanwhile, that is now 30 straight years with no Chinese Super League title for Shanghai Shenhua. And all of this after starting the season so well. Do you see why I keep calling this team Chinese Arsenal? I know. I keep calling them that in every single video, but surely by now, you have to see why. I mean, heck, I can't even use that nickname anymore because Arsenal have actually won a title. Shanghai Shenhua haven't! But congratulations to Shanghai Port. After a pretty shaky start to the season, they managed to regain their form and come out on top of a thrilling league season. Not to mention, this is even more impressive considering they spent most of the season without Wu Lei. Changchun Yatai and Meizhou Haka are relegated to China League 1, while next season, well, the current season, sees Liaoning Tieren and Chongqing Tongyang joining the top flight. And all of this was after an equally nail-biting end to the League 1 Season 2. After Chongqing almost bottled on the second-to-last match day, they ended up doing just enough to get promoted over Guangzhou Power. Equal on points and goal difference, Chongqing just made it thanks to their superior head-to-head goal difference. Meanwhile, league winners Shanghai Port will compete in the Asian Champions League Elite, to be joined by CFA Cup winners Beijing Guoan. Runner-up Shanghai Shenhua qualify for the Asian Champions League 2. And that concludes the 2025 CSL review. Except we have to address the elephant in the room. Yeah, you all know what comes next. Basically, a recent corruption inquiry found 9 out of 16 CSL clubs guilty of various charges against fair play, and as a result, more than half the team started the league season on negative points. And let me tell you, having spent some time looking into the history of Chinese football myself, I can safely say, this is just another normal day in the CSL. Like, I am telling you, this league is so insanely corrupt, it's comical. On top of it being comical, as you've seen in the past season's CSL review, it's also not very good. Like, the quality of football is hilariously bad. Listen, okay, that's not even the best I've seen. Like, I could make an entire compilation video about funny moments in the CSL, and I probably will someday once I have the time. But, all that aside, in the current CSL season, who do you think will win the league? I mean, it's kind of obvious, but let me know down in the comments. If you like this video, like and subscribe, turn on notifications, follow my Instagram and my Twitter, yada yada yada, and I will see you next time. Take care.